do. I feel like, I've met up with Ben, I've met up with a few people at New Gen. This is Cole Hocker. If you don't know him, you should. He's got all the accolades. He's been to the World Finals, been to the Olympic Finals. If there's a big race that happened, he was there. Cole, it's great to have you, and also newly minted world silver medalist. How's it going on this beautiful Monday morning?
Yeah, appreciate you having me. It's going good. Like you just said, just came back from World Indoors and was able to grab my first global championship medal. So um, obviously really stoked about that, and just feeling really good about everything and where I'm at right now in the year 2024, which is obviously an important year for this sport. So
Yeah.
things are looking good and I'm enjoying it.
I know you got the room behind you. You said you're setting it up. You've got NCAA accolades out the window. See a sneaking American flag in the corner. Powerhouse here. Where does the world medal go?
You know,
From the
that's a good
fans,
question.
right?
Yeah. I'm trying to figure that out. I might need to see how other people display them because I'm kind of
Hmm.
like stumped on how to display it, but gotta have something special.
I think like the dream is to have the case where you have enough room for all of your future medals. Which, to be honest, I think you're perfectly on track to have a complete case in a decade or so. Um, so yeah, that's the question for a decade down the line. But and I'm sure
Yeah,
you'll find the right spot. But
I hope
um,
so.
we're gonna dive all over the place. When you Google Cole Hawker, you find a lot of cool stuff. I actually want to take it back to Cathedral. I mean, I'm sure we've revisited there many times. You're an Indiana product. A lot of success from your high school in terms of athletics. I actually am curious about the culture. Uh, there were so many NHL and NFL players to come out of Cathedral. One track athlete. Give me an idea of what being really successful in running in high school was there versus what it was to be like successful in football or hockey.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, it's funny you picked up on that because yeah, I don't know how many NFL players we have from our school, but it's a lot for
It's actually 12 and
there you go.
21 NHL players, which is that's amazing. You guys got some athletic genes in the water.
Yeah. I did not know about the NHL. That doesn't get as much of the limelight as the NFL players, but
Yeah.
um yeah, I mean my school's like I think it was 1,200 people when I was there. I think it's roughly the same size now, but um, yeah, when I came in, like the team wasn't definitely not bad, but it was like a big deal if we made state, which it still is a big deal, especially because Indiana has only one division, so it's
Hmm.
like it's a lot harder to make state than like it means a lot more than a lot of the other states because there's like so many divisions. So it's legitimately the top however many however many teams there are, like 30 or so. But I think we made state like three times and Cathedral's like over 100 years old at this point.
Hmm.
So it definitely we weren't like a powerhouse. And then yeah, I got there and got there with like it just worked out. We got there with a lot of good guys and um like we just assembled this good team and I think it's one of those things where I started to run well and made others start to run well and it just kind of went on and on. And I mean we ran like a really good DMR 958, I think we ran
Hmm.
outdoors. Um
Yes.
so I think that's the Indiana state record still. And I don't know how that stands like nationally. It's probably 50th at this point, but
After Newberry came in and cleaned house, everyone's gone back like 20 positions.
yeah. But yeah, it was fun, definitely. And um, not to brag, but I got sports player of the year
Yeah,
my senior.
Gatorade. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
That's
like I got the Gatorade and we had like an internal school one. And
oh, I
so
gotcha.
being able to like do it
So
as a
you
runner.
outperformed like future NBA. Well, I don't know if there's an NBA player in your graduating class, but as a runner getting out on top of the other sports, I mean that's significant.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. Like, yeah, I was like, it's kind of sick. Like usually it's just these football studs, but yeah, it was fun to. I don't think anyone even really like paid attention to running, and I think that's the track team now is really solid. But I'd like to think I played a part in
Oh
building
yeah.
the program.
You got legacy, I feel like. That's great. And you mentioned like I believe the 100-year anniversary of your school happened in 2019, your graduating year. Was
Yeah.
there a did that overshadow things? Because I was looking back at this and they made it a big deal. You've won Foot Locker, you've won all these big meets, you come away with the Sportsman of the Year, Gatorade. Did was there like a little overshadowing by this 100-year one family anniversary? I wish I could turn my computer because I'm looking at that giant blue banner on the front of Cathedral right next to the torch, whatever it is coming out of the left side of the school. Uh,
Oh yeah.
what was going on that year?
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Yeah,
I don't know if
that's
it
what I thought.
overshadowed, but I mean, 100 years, that is a long time. Like, I think it started off, well, it started off as an all-girls school actually, and then it moved like locations like three times, I think. It was in downtown Indianapolis for like the longest time, and definitely like a lot of history, which is pretty cool.
Hmm.
But 100 years, big deal. Didn't
You'd be
overshadow.
surprised how much I like read about Cathedral High School on Wikipedia, and I know,
I
I mean,
was,
I know they made a big deal out of it. I didn't know it started as an all-girls school. That's interesting. And there was a lot of interesting, like, this was the first all-white section at one point in the 40s or something. I was like, not good, but okay.
interesting.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
there's some history there, but I won't harp
great
too much
history.
on that. We can move past that.
Yeah.
Um, what about 2021 the Olympics? I know that Cathedral held an actual viewing of the Olympic final. Um, did you ever get to watch that? What was your reaction when you saw, looks like 200, 300 people slammed into the gymnasium?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, I mean, I just went to Tokyo by myself. I mean, because everything was so locked down. Like,
Yeah,
they were like, your coach can come, but he
we'd
might just be
prefer not.
like not able to come to the practices
God.
and stay in a different hotel. I was like,
Mm,
okay, so there's really no point in that.
yeah,
Uh, and yeah, so I was just in Tokyo by myself, like getting all these notifications, and it was like really cool to see, obviously. And then part of me is always like internalize like the pressure of like I'm like they already have the third viewing party planned. Like I better make the final, even though
yeah,
I want to make it for a lot more reasons than just that. But that definitely crossed my mind, and but it looked really awesome, and yeah, I think it was pretty cool. Like my school cared enough about that. My high
yeah.
school, yeah,
And I can't help but notice. I mean, seems like the restrictions were pretty loose in the gymnasium here. I mean, I'm taking yourself back to 2021. I'm not seeing a mask. I'm just saying. I don't care. I'm just playing. But it seems like for you in Tokyo, hyper lockdown, people with picket signs on the street saying no Olympics to, more relaxed things going on in the States. I am curious, like for someone competing in rounds, needing to get to, safe zones, what was the overall experience like? How much were you actually able to like experience Tokyo versus what the actual pandemic games were like?
yeah. Well, I did not get to experience Tokyo
Yeah,
at
I
all.
figured.
Um, I didn't leave the village, which like I mean, Olympic Village is pretty big. Like
Mm,
I didn't really have like a preconceived like concept of what it would be like, but I don't think I was like prepared for. I mean, I think there was like 10,000 athletes, which is crazy. I mean,
jeez.
that's a good population.
That's a
So
small city, yeah.
yeah, there's just these
Hmm.
like apartment buildings that were built. I mean, they're used after the fact, but they were built in order to be the Olympic Village. And I didn't leave there, which like I mean, you could like there was like probably a 3 mile loop around the whole thing.
Mm,
So it was like a good size, and I'd walk places to do whatever and go to the practice track. That was actually like kind of cool because well, the USA has its own practice track, and we would just go in a bus. It was like a 30-minute bus ride, but you'd go
jeez.
through Tokyo.
Mm.
And I always
And
got to
see
see,
nothing.
yeah, I
No
saw
people.
buildings, but yeah, like no people because I mean
Damn.
Japan of all places was taking it like very seriously, and so
Mm.
um yeah, it was very interesting, and I would kind of sucks because I think Japan is like would be like one of the places I'd want to visit the most.
Have you been back since?
I have not, but I
Next
think
year.
World,
Next
yeah,
year. Oh yeah. We got plans for sure.
yeah,
Cool. Yeah. Man, yeah, I mean, I've talked to people about it and they all have the same consensus. It sucked, you know. I mean, it's
yeah,
so much better to have people not just there, but in the stands especially. Like people get the idea that like Tokyo wasn't that different from a audience perspective, but there were literal fake audience noises. I mean, you said your coach had such high restrictions. Maybe that adds to the fast race because that is like the fastest 1500 of all time, at least in the Olympics. I'm curious from your perspective what really felt like to technically break the previous Olympic record that was set 2 days earlier in the finals, get sixth, run the fastest final lap out of anyone in the race. There was just so much that happened in such a short period of time. Now, what'd you learn from that race? How did you feel afterwards in that final?
yeah. I mean, well, like starting like on the first round, um, was one of the most like bizarre feelings, kind of because it was the Olympics. I was super nervous, but at the same time, like less nervous for that than I was for NCAAs because there was a lot more expectation at NCAAs. And so obviously I had like a lot of expectation for myself at the Olympics, but no real external pressure from what I thought. And but the first round was really weird because it was at like I want to say like 8:30 in the morning in Tokyo. And just like I can't remember the last time I raced that early. And
Mm-hmm.
it was like just like a slight rain. It was like warm, but a slight rain, and then nobody in the stadium. So uh,
And you ran 3:36 for fourth. Like, that's a fast race.
yeah, yeah, the gun went off, and I just remember like vividly, like I just like was tucked in behind Ollie Hoare, and I was like, this does not like this feels so casual. Like it was actually like a big relief because it just felt like so not so serious once I got going,
Mm.
and just I think the time of day and like the fact that there was no fans like contributed to that. Um, but definitely by the time the final came around, I mean, I think that was in the evening, and um, nerves were like very high, and I kind of did what I had been doing most of the season, and sticking on the rail and just trying to finish really hard that last lap. And I was running like the fastest I had gone. I mean, it was a fairly even split race, even though I was tucked in back there. And I just remember thinking the last lap, like each person I caught was just like a big, like, was just almost like a check mark in my head of like,
Mm.
I'm gonna get eighth place at the Olympics. I'm gonna get seventh place at the Olympics. Like I'm gonna get sixth place, and they were just like so like these big milestones in my head
Yeah.
that I was actually conscious of on that last lap. And I think like, of course, like as an athlete and as someone who likes to win races, I always want more unless I win really. And so there's obviously just a little bit of that after the fact. But then the fact that it was the fastest ever Olympic race, I mean, kind of helped ease my mind a little bit. I'm like, I gotta appreciate like what I just did and the season I just had because um, I was not expecting that going into that year.
Yeah, I mean, especially considering the NCAA season is so long, and you started so hot, 350 indoors, fastest teenager ever. Uh, you 7 straight months of racing. Most people can't carry through. I feel like your fitness not only lasted through the season, but it even peaked at the Olympics. Like, how was that possible? Because you see that once, like every couple of years, by like one athlete. Actually, a thing Mo in the same season did the same thing.
Right.
Undefeated 800, won the Olympics. Like, what can you contribute that to? Was it mindset, fitness, luck, all three? I don't know, but none of them. Just badassery.
Yeah, I'd like to say part of it is mindset, for sure. And just, I think part of being just in the NCAA system and one of the younger guys out there, just almost being naive and not overcomplicating the situation. And, you can be at it for so long. Even now, I think, it's hard to stop thinking for a little bit and just
Mm-hmm.
race. I think that was honestly a big advantage that year, and just I raced indoors and I wanted to win that race, and I was able to win it. And then I go to outdoors, and my only goal is to win NCAA championship. And then I remember talking with Cooper after, right before NCAAs. He's like, "What are you more nervous for, NCAAs or trials?" And I was like, "NCAAs by far. Like trials are just like a bonus in my head."
Yeah.
And then that rolls around, and when it comes to race day, I obviously lock in and I want to win. But then I just think about that race, and I'm not thinking about the Olympics at all. And I think maybe some athletes are thinking ahead like that. And I think it really helped just to go one race at a time. And that's also something I still try to do. Even though as I feel like as you advance in your career, it gets like increasingly more difficult to take it one race at a time. But I think I do a pretty good job at that. And then also just, my coach, Ben, has always been really good about, peaking when you want to peak. And
Mm.
sometimes it's hard you're like, "Ah, I feel like I should not, like we got NCAAs this week. Like, let's just like take the whole week down, and like, I just want to win this race." And, he has us doing stuff, and he's got it worked out to where he's confident, and, I can still get a little bit of work in, and that's going to pay off in 2 weeks and still be ready to race when it's NCAA's day. So I think he was just really good that season, and being patient and not overworking me. I mean, we took a big down break from indoor season to outdoor, and I mean, on paper, and we just kept racing. And, you get better at racing by racing, I think. So there was a lot of racing that season. So I think I was able to hone in on that.
Yeah, I'm calculating like 30 plus races or around 30 maybe. That's a lot, especially for a distance
Yeah.
guy and running anything from 1200 in the DMR. Was it the 1200 or the 800? I want to say it was 12, right? You let off.
Yeah, I did
Yeah,
the
yeah.
1200. Not at
Gosh,
NCAA though, but
I'm realizing
early.
quickly I have too many questions for you. I mean, I don't know how much time you have, but there's like quickly touch on the DMR because that was awesome. I didn't
Right.
realize this until just now, but Kevin Hart freaking retweeted, like, of all people, I would not expect Kevin Hart. I would have expected Joe Biden to retweet it before that. Like, there seemed to be like a sense of hysteria in the beginning stages indoors 2021. I won't stick to the 2021 season, but I'm realizing a lot of weird things happened. What was that like? Having a A-list celebrity comedian take one of your races and just push it out there.
Yeah, it was crazy. That was just really weird. Obviously, that season was kind of, I think, where most people heard my name for the first time. So, I mean, it's fair that you have some questions about it. But
We'll go back.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember looking at that. We're like, what? Did Kevin Hart just tweet that? Or
But
we're like, does he know Coach Johnson in some way? And I don't know if they do. I feel like
seems
they might have
possible.
had some brief. I think Kevin Hart follows Robert Johnson for some reason. So that might have been the connection.
Hey, yeah.
But yeah, it's just bizarre.
Yeah, that's just more eyes on the sport. That's cool.
I think
All
we were
right.
Sports Center top 10 that week also.
Yes, you were number 10 too, which by the way, totally unjust. But either way, I feel like you don't get too much athletics in the top 10. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was my next thing I noticed. That's awesome. All right, I'm gonna step away from track for a second. We'll get back. We'll mix it up. And by the way, I mean we've already been talking for what, like 20 minutes. You let me know of your schedule. I can 18 minutes, not bad. Decent
Yeah.
5K time.
Let me plug in my laptop real quick.
I wanted to create one impossible question for you, and I'm gonna zone in on Indiana. Reggie Miller or Paul George?
I have to go Paul George because I grew up watching him
Fair
and
point.
emulating his dunks on my trampoline mini hoop. So
Oh, yeah, Reggie's not so much a dunker. He's got the three-pointer down. I mean, that's legendary, but the dunk has beautiful optics. All
yeah.
right, all right, all right. All right, out of your three TikToks, what's your favorite? Creating your name backwards in salt, the beach waves coming in, or jumping off the balcony into the pool? I assumed that
Hey,
was you. That's creativity to the best forms.
the pool video is sick. There's
Oh
no
man.
argument.
Yeah, that's Sorry, that was a dumb question.
What's crazy though, well, I haven't even found that account, but I heard someone else talking about it too. Luckily, those are the only three videos up there, I think.
Nothing snuck
Uh,
out of your mischievous 16-year-old self.
yeah, that's scary to think about.
You,
But I
I got
think
a
I was
decade
actually
on you.
better. At least you don't, I don't know, you didn't have as much access to the internet, I feel like, as like each
That's
generation that
true.
goes by.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, I wasn't on it when I was like 7, but I brief side story. I was on like the cutting edge of AOL Instant Messenger, MySpace, and Facebook all simultaneously creating this insane social network thing. So I mean, I was like there for the start, and thankfully I've stayed somewhat relevant, so people care about my presence now. But like looking back on it, man, I'm just happy that I don't. I feel bad for people that are like 16 right now. They're gonna get canceled in
That's
10
what I'm
years.
saying.
Like,
Yeah,
there's no
exactly.
privacy. I mean,
No.
yeah, I mean, those are some three pretty innocent TikToks you got. I mean, it's style points for sure, but is that
It's
salt,
actually,
by the way, or is it sugar? Is this MSG? What am I looking at here?
I believe it's salt. Had some spare salt laying around. I
Can I put
think
that on the video right now and let them see it is artistic?
let them see it because I still vaguely remember making it, and it was actually on Musically. That account was,
Musically.
and TikTok, I think,
Heck
bought it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. God, Musically was such a short. It's like the Vine of the other internet dimension.
exactly.
I don't know if you know who Nathan Gerard is, but he said the reigning US 15 champ boys. That's the top comment on that post. Mm.
Jesus.
Yeah, good times. Oh, how is this going to affect LeBron's legacy? What is this? I mean, I get that on a lot of my videos, and I find it funny. Um, okay, so well done on the impossible questions. I want to talk about the Monumental Mile for a moment, a key pillar to the Indiana running experience, but I have some beef, okay? These guys on their YouTube channel, I don't know if you can hear my screen. Can you hear this?
Winner, by the way, ran the mile in
Can you hear? Okay. They said the winner of the
4
mile
minutes and 30 seconds.
ran a 4:30, which is not accurate. And this dropped in 2019. You ran a 4:08, if I recollect correctly. I mean, how can we change this? What do you first off, Monumental Mile, I'll put some footage here of it. Looks like a really cool street mile. What did that mile mean for you, and um how is 4:30 the winning time? It just that's not true.
Yeah, it was an interesting race. I kind of forget like why exactly I did it. Honestly, I was trying to break four in that race.
On the
Um,
streets, bold move.
I think, yeah, I think that was the goal. I don't know if we were really prepped for that.
Hmm.
Uh, I like ran 40, like 406 to 408 like four times that year. So a little far off, but then yeah, I think it was my 18th birthday that race
Oh,
and
nice.
got out kicked, I think, the last like 20,
Uh,
20 meters. Yeah, so not
I
my
didn't put that
best.
together. That's a good birth. Well, good and bad, I guess. But 408 on the roads is flying, man, especially for high schooler. I don't think there's ever been a high schooler to go sub 4 on the road. So that's pretty
Yeah.
impressive. Goodness. All right, so outside of just running and on the streets, you were quoted all the way back in high school saying you were a strength runner sort of guy. You like to incorporate the kick into your strategy. Is that how you still see yourself? You're more of a strength guy, but have kicking potential because I've run the numbers, and you have one of the best kicks technically in history indoors and one of the best outdoors. Where's your identity right now when it comes to your fitness and stuff?
Yeah, I think it's shifted a bit. Just as far as the competitions, like the races I'm in, I think I can, you can get away a little bit more and definitely in high school and more so in college where um, I think in a lot of races I was, the best guy in the field, no matter how the race went,
Yeah.
um, top one or two or whatever. And so yeah, I like depended on my kick and I just had, so much trust in that because I'm just like I just, felt I just had that feeling like especially my sophomore year when I would get in these races and I would just be like, I have so much left. Like when I need to
Mhm.
change gears, like I know I have it. Versus, the past 2 years definitely been learning how to run with the best in the world, opposed to the best in the country. And it's a different ball game, especially now where it seems that like every championship race goes fast and you have to be strong and you can't just depend on a bit of a slower pace and a sprint at the end.
Have you
And I
considered
think
trash talk? That seems to work.
I've considered it, definitely
Mhm.
considered it.
Yeah, that's. I think. Obviously, I'm joking. Kind of referring to the Ingebrigtsen and Kerr beef going on. Uh,
Right.
I don't want to get too deep into that because I mean everyone has their own reasons for the way that they act. But I mean, how do you see the landscape of the 1500 right now? To take a step back, you've got like you know very good runners, very fast times. Paris is like the ultimate platform right now for. I've got this halo effect going. Sorry, I'm just gonna pull this down a little bit. Um, there's some genuine beef going on, and I feel like people are kind of sleeping on a lot of people from yourself. Narvenuros is really good. You've got your Cam Myers, your 17-year-old in Australia. I mean, Beamish has a great kick, sort of lacking in the strength, but like, how do you see the landscape unfolding towards Paris right now?
Yeah, I think I mean, from what I can remember, like, I've only been really invested in like the professional track
Yeah,
circuit
only like
for
2 years, three tops. Yeah.
exactly like, yeah, about 3 years. Obviously, I knew like the big guys and I've, done my due diligence, I think, of going back and studying the race quite a bit, but it's like it's really strong right now. And um
Yep.
I think you can even the USA just take the indoor championships and everyone has the standard. I think that's pretty telling.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if it's a similar case outdoors. And so that's kind of just what I'm preparing for, I would say. And I think it just nothing crazy and nothing to freak out about. It just keep doing what I've been doing, and I have total trust in what I've been doing. And but it's very strong right now, and um, I definitely get excited every time I can test it on a big stage, whether it be Prefontaine where you essentially get to race a world final. It seems like,
Mm. Yeah.
or the legit thing. That's where you can
Mm.
really see how you measure up against the current state of the 15. And you know it's fast right now, and I feel like I'm the fastest I've ever been. So I'm really confident, and it's cool just to be part of, yeah, like just like excellent sport right now.
Mm. Yeah, that's scary. If you're feeling that fitness that high, I mean, obviously the time isn't the goal, but it seems 329 is within palm's grasp right now. So I mean, I mean, a lot of people in interviews say, my eyes aren't on the time; it's on the W. Is that real? Like, there's no way that's real. I don't care how locked in you are. You always want to go a second faster. You always want to get an extra tenth off. Where is 329? Just like, let's get it already.
For sure. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like,
Like I don't believe them. Jakob's like, I'm not thinking about sub 327. Yes, you are. That's not real.
right. Yeah. I mean, you set up a race to go for a time, and speaking personally, I want sub 330 and, faster than that, I think. So time is, that's how we measure in this sport. But
Hmm.
also, if you would ask me, would I rather PR this season or would I rather medal or at the Olympics? I
No
choose the latter.
question.
So
Yeah,
if
I
you
get
compare them
that.
like that, I think that's kind of where most people are coming from.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, but I mean, you're never gonna like dig deep into that psyche because that's their killer instinct coming out. I think anyone would rather run crappy all season, win the Olympic gold, and then I don't know, maybe a
Exactly.
decent time afterwards. But here's a question, and we're gonna do a little trivia just because I find it interesting. Who are the only Americans to break 330, 1500 outdoors so far?
Say the got Yared.
The third one's a little
Uh,
more challenging. It's not who you think, because I actually just corrected myself.
So
And
it's
I'm
not Alan
supposed to know
Webb,
that it's not Alan Webb.
right?
I'm supposed to know this, and I didn't know it.
Yeah. Let me think for a second.
I'll just put like, how do you know your sport with Cole Hocker right now?
Right.
Little short segment.
So is there three Americans?
Just three, yeah.
I definitely looked at this list.
Yeah, I have two, yeah.
Um, can you give me? All right, I'm gonna ask for a hint.
Yeah, get it,
What's
get it.
what's the year, if you know?
1985.
Oh wow.
It's not Centro, obviously.
1985.
They were born in 56.
Is it Jim Ryan?
It's not Jim Ryan. I don't think they really went too much
Yeah.
like time trial 1500. He was 333 in Los Angeles in the 60s in 67, and I'm sure he ran like close to that in the games. But
Steve
um,
Scott?
Steve Scott is 331.76. He was born in 85, or he was born in 56 as well and ran that
Oh,
time in 85. You checked two of the three boxes except for the time.
weird. Okay, just I mean, I'll take.
It's Sydney Marie.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely a sleeper. Like
Underrated, yeah, totally.
definitely underrated.
And there's only been 8 that have been under 331, including what we just mentioned, yourself, Andrew Weeding, and Leo Manzano. Very interesting. And Leo was obviously a silver medalist in the Olympics. Incredible. So yeah, there's a little cool trivia for you. I'm sure you'll. I'm very excited for the season. I've seen your progression. I know your confidence. Oh, there was one. Oh, here's a question. Who is Dan Stomsky?
It's not ringing a bell, to be honest.
Okay, according to the Old Goat Track Club, he is a passionate rapper and the coach of Old Goat Track Club. And the only reason I bring this up is because you've done actual like PR for them,
Okay,
bringing
I've
up
done a cameo for them.
a cameo exactly. Um, he's just a beautiful 30-year-old man with a beard, glasses, and I can't help but appreciate how great the Old Goat logo is. Goated logo, unbelievable. What exactly? Excuse me. What is the Old Goat Track Club, and why do I only hear about it once every year, for literally a day?
Uh,
I don't.
you're asking the wrong guy.
An amateur
You're the
sports team, suave, competitive, relaxed. This seems like a great time, and there's some huge names on here. Like, I mean, you're doing some PR cameo. We got Emma Coburn. Um, if you're perplexed, that just makes the mystery even greater. I'm following them right now, and we'll see what they've got in the future. All right, that's enough about Old Goat Track Club. Here's another question: what's the minimum time post race that an interviewer should be allowed to interview the athletes?
1 hour, or I don't,
I
30
guess it
minutes probably.
depends.
It
1,500
depends.
meters up, we're 400 meters up, maybe a few extra minutes, because you're doing almost a distance race from 400 up. 100 meters, if you're out of breath 2 minutes later, I mean, makes sense, I suppose, but for a 1,500 performance of 5,000, you're laying out like a 10,000 calorie expenditure. You're putting out like this huge effort. Like, I
Oh,
feel
I
like it's too
see.
off. Yeah, it's too often people are just winded, out of breath. They can't actually finish the interview. For someone that's been interviewed countless times post race, where do you see that time making sense?
Okay, I thought you were asking. I was getting the question confused.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Say like I don't know, 5 minutes.
It's a
Yeah,
respectable time. You gotta save some time for TV. Maybe get them after the commercial break or something.
yeah. Thing is, they
Yeah,
like to get right off the track interviews, which is good sometimes, but I feel like a lot of the time the distance runners are less out of breath than the sprinters,
that's funny.
which
Yeah.
is interesting.
I mean, it might tell a tale of just the cardio effort or the cardio fitness that you guys have. I remember
Yeah,
the notorious Tyson Gay. Go back and watch an interview with him like 2007. He'll have just run the 100. In his interview, he's literally like, become strong. And he's gasping for air. And I always thought,
yeah,
is this like, okay? Is he okay? Like, how is he this out of breath? He just ran 100. I mean, granted, he's running 9.7s, 9.69 a few times or once, but It's very interesting to me.
It
Okay, let's
is, yeah.
let's step off the track. Big question here. What does Kanye West mean to you?
Trying to get me canceled.
Pre 2022.
Yeah. Um, as far as like just artist alone,
Artist alone. Yeah, let's go back maybe Kids See Ghosts and earlier.
yeah, yeah. I just like, I mean, I'm not getting too corny, but just really got into his music in high school about, and then like just stayed listening to it through college, and then I started like just kind of messing around making beats, and I just like am more drawn to the artists that produce also, and like Travis Scott and Pharrell Williams, like they produce Tyler the Creator, and I'm just like I feel like naturally more drawn to them because I'm interested in like the production side of it,
Hmm.
and yeah, just I think he's the GOAT of our generation,
This is GOAT
and
rapper, hip hop artist. Where are you coming from, like label wise?
I'd say artist.
There we go. Okay.
We'll leave it at that. But
Yeah.
I like his music. Yeah.
Let's dig a little deeper because obviously this is about the artist or this is about the art and this is about great songs. I'm actually a big Kanye fan as well. Probably not to your level, but wanted to test the waters of just where you're coming from. What do you think has the best overall production? And I'm only going to do a handful of these. Would you prefer College Dropout, Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, or Life of Pablo?
Hmm. I mean, production wise, it's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
That's actually the right answer. That's what I was going to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, that's
That's a
like
good
the
one.
that's the right answer. Just
Obviously, you can have your own opinion, but
yeah,
that's good. Yeah.
yeah.
What do you think
But
has
favorite
the
album is Yeezus, in case you're wondering.
Jesus? I was wondering. I was gonna do just a whole question of what's your favorite, but okay, yeah, we'll leave it at that. I think it gives a good example of. I mean, I've seen your music. You've literally sent me your SoundCloud, and I was impressed. We were editing one day and we were listening to some of your jams, and I was like, I was really into it. We haven't
Appreciate
incorporated
that.
it yet, but it really was good. So I mean, keep doing
Should
what you're
top that on the
doing.
screen.
I'll add it all over the description.
Awesome.
Cole Hocker, please support the channel with your music. Um, okay, so there's one race I was really curious about, and I feel like there's always a few pivotal races that kind of bump you up, give yourself more confidence, like push you to another level, and a lot of those formidable races happen in high school. I think. Talk to me about your state championship in the 800 over Gabriel Sanchez and Dustin Hudak. I think that's how you pronounce it. Hudak seemed like a close one, and while you had the favoritism certainly in the mile, 800 was a lot more of an actual race.
Yeah, yeah. It was fun. Like that. Yeah, I don't know how often that double is done
Not
in high
often.
school.
Hmm.
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, it's like it's one division in Indiana, so you got sectionals, regionals, and then state in track. So it gets cut down over like 3 weeks. And then yeah, I did the mile, Bloomington, Indiana, really hot, like pushing 90 degrees, I want to say, and it's just like yeah, really hot and just gassed after the mile. Again, I
Yeah.
was trying to go for something really fast, and I think I went out in 57.
Ooh.
So
Oh yeah.
ambitious, to say the
Olympic
least.
pace.
Yeah. Yeah, it only took me like 4 more, or I guess like 3 more years to hold anything near that pace. But um yeah, I like threw up after the mile, and I was just like I don't want to race this 800. And because I knew these guys were like really good too. So
Hmm.
um it was a good race, and it made me work for it for sure.
Yeah, that was
But
a good race. I mean, you won by less than a was it half of a second? I actually saved the picture, but I had like 50 tabs open. I was
yeah,
saving all this. Let's try to go in order. Yeah, I mean, we'll just say it was a close race, and
yeah.
you pulled out the double. That's a beastly double, gotta say. All right, let's go into a a few fast-paced questions. Answer however you want. Best city to race in?
Huh. Say, I'd say London.
Ooh, not Monaco.
I haven't been to Monaco yet to
Oh,
race.
okay. Oh, you'll
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've heard good things. The after parties are great.
yeah, it
Um,
just like I know it's rapid fire, but
yeah, yeah.
50,000 people showed up for a London Diamond League, and I mean, that was as big as Worlds was. So I was just shocked,
Yeah,
like
that's
when I
that's huge.
came into the stadium. So yeah, that was crazy experience.
London. All right. Favorite opponent to race?
I don't know if I have a favorite opponent to race.
Nicest opponent to race. I'm just kidding. Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah, I
mean,
don't know.
all right. Least favorite opponent, and I guess this could be interpreted however you want. You don't have to answer any of these. This is all optionals.
I don't. Hmm. I honestly like. I'm not trying to dodge a question.
No,
I
I
don't
got.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have. Okay, this might sound funny, but if there's a high schooler in the race, I'm just like, why am I going to get cooked by a high schooler and my career is going to be over? That's probably my least favorite opponent to race.
That's interesting. We'll get
Even
back to
though
the.
just on paper, there's like logically, there's miles ahead, but always in the back of my mind, I'm like,
Hmm.
something's going to go wrong. I'm going to get beat by a high schooler.
So technically that's more of a fear as opposed to maybe the least. It's not the athlete themselves; it's the optics of what it would actually like. If Colin Solomon comes and runs a 3:52, and you had an off day at a 3:53, which is still fast, you're like,
Exactly.
Jed, that okay? That makes perfect sense. That's logical. All right,
Yeah.
who's your favorite athlete ever? If you had to pick just one, this doesn't
Hmm.
doesn't have to be just track.
I'm a big Tom Brady fan, which that took some growing up, like despised him growing up because Colts fan,
Yeah,
big rivalry there, knocked us out of playoffs a lot of the times. A lot of tears shed from middle school Cole from Tom Brady. But as I've grown up, I feel like he's the GOAT quarterback, and I just like really like his mentality.
it's hard to argue against. But have you tried
And
one of
yeah,
his smoothies? I mean,
I have
not
not.
don't. It's not so good.
Yeah, that's what
Um,
I've heard.
all right, which rapper do you think would run the fastest mile? I actually have my answer, and it's kind of a hot take, but I'm curious what you think.
I think probably random, but an LE Choppa.
All right.
He,
See, I went with J. Cole. I know he's 6'4". Don't have to tell me. But the man can dunk. Like the man has some hops and some athleticism.
he's
I feel like you
athletic.
put him into a mile, he's going sub 6. I really do think that.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a valid point. The only reason I
Mhm.
say NLE is because he's like randomly really into like holistic medicine and
Oh.
skincare and like hydrating, and for whatever reason he's the most random person to be into that, but I'm like he's probably healthy.
I mean, it's good to be health conscious. Drink some
Yeah,
cucumber water. Get
exactly.
your electrolytes in. Interesting. All right. Well, to bring it back, we'll bring it back into running for a minute. So right now, 2024 Olympic year, you had an astoundingly good indoors. Moving into outdoors, I mean, I don't even know if you've got a schedule lined up, races you're looking into. How are you sort of attacking, the outdoor season upcoming now that you've gone 8:05 in the 2 mile, which by the way, damn, that was awesome. And silver indoors executed what you mentioned might be a perfect indoor 1500 in nationals. So, where are you mentally? What are you looking for going outdoors?
Yeah, I think definitely don't have a concrete schedule yet.
Mhm.
Obviously all leads up to making that team, and you know, like I said, one race at a time. So I'm hoping to get a 5K standard at some point this outdoor season, and see what my opportunities are in that race, and definitely work on that longer side. That's something I missed last year, and I was just really impressed with um, honestly like just my coach. my coach's ability to, get me back last year with very limited time and just being able to run a 3:30 1500 off of what I did last year in preparation. And, my biggest thing is stay healthy and work on that, long end of things. And, the speed will follow. Just the confidence coming off this indoor season just comes from, I know what I did to, get ready for this indoor season. And opening up at Melrose, I was kind of, I was texting my buddy and I was like, the American record's definitely up for grabs. And that,
Hmm.
again, that's the state of where we're at. I got it, but not fast enough on the day to actually get it.
Yeah.
Um, but like, nevertheless, I was really happy with 8:05 and just opened my eyes up to where my fitness was and how that came just through the training we did. And yeah, just again, it was a pretty short build-up for this indoor season. Indoor Worlds was a, kind of like a bonus race. Um, Definitely not underplaying that at all. I treated it as a championship race, just as like what it was, and I treated it like there was a world medal up for grabs. And um, executed on the day to the best of my ability. But it was a short buildup, and all just priming me for this outdoor season. And it's short. It's a short window now, like on paper, but the when you actually start stacking those days, we got a while, and it'll
Hmm.
it'll sneak up. But I'm really confident in the timing that we have right now, and I think that was the best indoor season I could have gotten this year. Just happy moving on from that.
Yeah, yeah, it was very, very good indoor season, and now you're in outdoors. What? I'm curious. You obviously are taking a break, but what is a rest period for you actually like? Are you actually not running? Or are you doing the like, oh yeah, I only ran 6 miles at 8 minute effort today? What's going on between the transition period between indoors and outdoors? Because obviously you're doing something. It always surprises me what athletes are actually doing during the rest period. Like Lyles is out cranking starts. It's just like not rest. It's just a completely different type of workout.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's like, you never, I took a couple days completely off, and part of that's traveling from Europe
Hmm.
to back to America. It's like, I think that travel could be so taxing on your body already. So I just let myself, I feel like get to equilibrium. Um, in this past week, I just been pretty much doing easy runs and some cross training here and there. So,
Hmm.
um, especially in the season, um, opposed to finishing up in September and really being done for a while. Um, I never like to completely stop running and all of that, just because I've found that a lot of times when I've taken a big break, that I come back and maybe I'm weak in some areas that I've kind of neglected from this break. And little, like nagging injuries can crop up, and I just try to avoid that. Especially, I've gone through some Achilles issues, and I'm very conscious of that. And I think
Yeah.
from what I've learned and from like the doctors I've spoken to, a big rest and then back into training, and it's really hard to ease into training once you start. That can be just, you're really vulnerable for an injury. So you got to let off the gas, but definitely not just complete rest.
Yeah, that seems like a logical move. All right, I've
Yeah.
got two more questions. I think I said like I might have had one more. I lied. The first one involves Yared. Obviously, like he's really come into his own as a miler really quickly. And I'm sure he'll be competing alongside of you and whoever else is running 15 this year. But my question is actually about 2021 at NCAA's. So you come out of high school from the Irish contingent, and you find yourself lined up against another Irish sort of. Did you find that coincidence entertaining? And was there motivation to be like, I got to represent OG Irish against Yard at NCAA's? I always found that quite interesting.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That
Hmm.
never crossed my mind once. But really, really interesting.
Maybe
Uh,
subconscious.
yeah, yeah. Something with the Irish. But
Yeah, no, man.
yeah, because yeah, Cathedral has like I guess they've grandfathered in the fighting leprechaun or whatever. So we like
Mm,
still on our football field. And I guess if they redo the football field, something like that, then they like can't can't get a new logo. So they like redo everything around the logo and just like keep the old one there.
interesting. All right. Well,
Cathedral history for you.
yeah, cool. I had no clue of that one. I was just more interested in Yard wearing Irish on top Notre Dame. Okay. Um, I'll be honest. I had my question here and I forgot it. So that was more of a pressing question. If I remember it, maybe I'll text you. But
Yeah.
I think we'll just leave it at that for now. It's been great talking with you. Best of luck this year. And we will be looking for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I'm gonna add one thing. I don't know who's still sticking around at this deep end of the podcast, but if you are, we got a YouTube channel going up. Should by the time you
Ooh,
this, we should have our first video out. So
sweet.
it's Sova running. It should be linked a bunch of
Yes.
places if you check it out on Instagram or
Yeah.
TikTok or
Send me a link on Instagram so I can post it on here and we'll be watching.